is an organization that, anybody familiar with Dennis Rainey and the Family Life programs? They represent that. They're also a member of the National Coalition of Men's Ministry. But they do their work in New Jersey, Delaware, and eastern part of Pennsylvania, with various churches, businesses, military, and local volunteer teams focusing on building strong marriages and families. At the heart of their ministry is to help make disciples of Jesus Christ, according to Matthew 28:18-20. Bill and Sharon have been married for 32 years and have had the joy of raising 4 children. And one of the things I liked about when I got the email back from Bill, at the bottom of his name tag, he said, Psalm 127:1, unless the Lord builds the house, the builder's labor is in vain. I give you Bill and Sharon Stevens.
Well, thank you very much. It's great to be here with you. Obviously, I'm Bill. My lovely wife Sharon is sitting in the back. There she is, standing up. We have matching shirts on, so you can tell us everyone else. Well, thank you for having us. And today, I wanted to just share about step families and stepdads. Really something that's going on in our society today with we've seen the breakdown of the family. And I want to talk a little bit about that and how it's impacting things. So really, step families are very complex and much more complex than a traditional marriage. And we'll talk a little bit about that because dads have a very key role in leading through that complexity by following God's plan. And really, to be successful as a step family, you need God's help to be able to do this. You can't do it on your own. And I want to talk a little bit about, well, how does the church engage then from that standpoint in helping to come alongside step families to equip them, prepare them, help them through this whole process. Because the divorce rate for step families is even higher than the divorce rate that we see for standard families. Because the challenges, the complexities, the stresses that they face are so high. You know, God has always used marriage as a way of discipling us. Think about it as you're a parent and raising your kids to that very relationship between your as husband and wife, and how God uses that to change us, transform us into His image through the aspect of marriage, where we learn and grow together. Today with broken families and broken marriages, how is what's happening in our generation today going to affect the next generation? So I'd like to read to you just from Psalm 78, just a few verses here. So listen to this. This is Psalm 78, verses 1 through 8. O my people, hear my teaching. Listen to the words of my mouth. I will open my mouth in parables. I will utter hidden things from old. For we have heard and known what our fathers have told us. We will not hide them from their children. We will tell the next generation the praiseworthy deeds of the Lord, His power and the wonders He has done. He decreed statutes for Jacob and established a law in Israel, which He commanded our forefathers to teach their children. So the next generation would know them, even the children yet to be born, and they in turn would tell their children. Then they would put their trust in God and would not forget His deeds, but would keep His commands. They would not be like their forefathers, a stubborn and rebellious generation, whose heart were not loyal to God, whose spirit were not faithful to Him. Men and women, men play a key role in the family, and particularly in step families and leading their families through that. Let me just give you a few statistics. 40% of the marriages today that have couples, that have children, are step families. So probably 40% of the marriages in your church are step families. 1/3 of all the weddings being performed today are going to form a step marriage, a step couple. On average, people move from divorce to remarriage within 4 years. 30% of those do it within 1 year. And very typically, 2/3 of those who are remarrying move first to a cohabitation role and then to marriage. You can see that new relationship forms very quickly. And this is becoming very typical in today's marriage landscape. This divorce, cohabitation, remarriage. Now, to address this and to prepare the next generation and what would happen there, we need to really address it today in our generation and what's going on in training folks in this area of marriage and family. So I have a short video that I wanted to share with you that's going to talk about the complexity of step families that will lead into this.
Our story begins when this guy met this girl and fell madly in love. First came love, then came marriage. Then came Emily, Michael, and John in a baby carriage. They were living the dream until doubt and isolation tore love apart. One love and one home became two. In another part of the world, a loving marriage welcomed two beautiful children. Life and love for this couple went along as they hoped, and they too were living the dream. Until Mom became ill. Bad became worse, and worse ended the dream. Courageously, Dad strove to pick up the pieces and help his grieving children carry on. And together, they did. Until one day when this lady met this fellow. Wait, where have I heard that before? Oh well. One thing led to another, and a new dream for a new home was born. Yes, they knew there would be challenges, merging homes, extended families, parenting strategies, finances, lost experiences, and holiday traditions, but they were confident that love would see them through. With hearts full of hope, they married. In the meantime, this guy, remember him? Announced that he and his girlfriend were getting married. They too had a dream for a new home. Okay, let's recap, shall we? What started out as 2 simple homes with 4 parents and 5 kids became 3 homes with 3 parents and 5 kids. And then became 2 homes with 2 parents, 2 step-parents, 5 children, 5 stepchildren, in the living memory of a deceased mother. And 5 sets of grandparents, dozens of cousins, uncles, and aunts, combining family traditions, kids with divided loyalties, a home with 5 children on some days and only 2 the next, 2 bedtimes, different parenting styles, conflict between homes, debt from the past, questions about whether this marriage will last, and 4 adults who quickly realized that their simple dream to recreate their dream home has instead created a multi-household family that is not simple at all, but complex. Love and hope has brought these families together, but how do they manage the complexity? And how do they make the dream reality? To find help, this home went to their local church. To their surprise, they found a ministry to blended families just like theirs. They weren't alone. With the help of Family Life Blended and their local church, this home found answers to the questions step families ask. For most, becoming a healthy step family has its challenges. Becoming step family smart is the first step toward helping this home and others like it live the dream. Live your dream. Family Life Blended, strengthening step families.
Okay, I think you can see that step-families are complex with all the interrelationships that happen and not being able to be controlled or everything because there's multiple family members that are part of it. You know, part of the big challenge for stepdads in this environment is managing that complexity and the stress and the dynamics that go with it. And he has to lead courageously, but very patiently through this process. You know, step-families are formed out of loss. A broken marriage and death in the family, as you saw in the video. And so the spouse that's there, the children that are there are dealing with that loss. That loss is enduring. It doesn't go away. Sure, it changes over time, but it's different. It's always there. Things you have to deal with as part of a step family. And so the dad has to navigate those waters very carefully in how he's leading his family. Because loss always leads to fear. I'm afraid of doing this because this is what happened in my previous marriage. I'm afraid of doing this because of the kids, and they're hurting right now. And that often takes people to the point of not moving forward with anything. They're frozen, they're incapacitated. But you need to move forward. You need to, like Moses moving through the Red Sea, you need to move through your fears. You need to move in a direction of leading your family. Now, a step family comes with children, by definition. So spouse, children, and all the other relationships that come with that. So a big part of the father's role here is how is this all going to integrate together? And on average, it takes about 7 years for a step family to become connected. You have to move very slowly. Typically, the children are lagging you by about a year. So the pace at which you can connect and do things in your family is really at the pace of those kids. And it really depends upon their age, their experience, and what they've been through. And so it's not just you and the spouse that you just married, but it's the kids and everything else that's part of that. I want you to think crock pot, not blender, not microwave. The crock pot, you put in the potatoes, you put in the carrots, you put in the beef, and you let it cook for a long time over a slow heat. And that's what's needed in a step family. It takes time, and you can't rush it. You can't, things get done at different times, just like the potato and the carrots get done at different times in a crock pot. When they blend together, it's quite an interesting, good tasting dinner. We just had a crock pot meal last night, and Sharon worked on that, put all the stuff in there in the morning, and by the evening, we had a great dinner. But it takes time for that to happen. It takes low heat. So the dad's role is leading, but leading in a way that's going to integrate things together, not change things quickly. And that comes into play in many different areas. For example, like discipline. The biological parent really needs to be the one that's going to discipline their children to start with. And it may not be the dad to do that. And so from a standpoint of a dad leading, he may be leading behind the scenes, not changing things right away, because those kids are going through a lot of things. And you can actually damage that relationship with those kids and slow things down by your approach here as a stepdad. So sometimes it's a little bit different than your first marriage and how you would approach things in a step family. I would say begin with the end in mind. And what is that? You know, we want to raise kids that glorify the Lord, that know the Lord and trust Him, that are well balanced, well adjusted, and who are going to stop this legacy of divorce that is going on. They have a biblical view of marriage. They understand God's plan for marriage and family. They get that at home. They learn that by what they see around them and happening in those relationships. You know, the stepdad is a new team member here in this family. The mom and children already have that existing relationship. And so his level of authority and coming into the family, when you have that blood relationship, you're just naturally accepted in that relationship. He doesn't have that blood relationship. And he has to earn that respect that love and that care is a choice by the family and the kids. And so it's a matter of how he leads that family is doing that. So really, it takes perseverance on the part of the dad. And he probably needs to get educated in this area because it's going to be a little bit different than what he experienced before. And he needs encouragement from others who have walked down this path before and can show him the ropes and tell him to keep going, and it's going to be okay. You know, step couples can really feel guilty because of what happened previously in their marriage relationship. And they can often feel like second-class citizens in church because they don't have that ideal relationship that we talk about from Scripture standpoint. So they often don't pursue premarital counseling. They think, hey, we've done this before, and I know what to do. But it's different in a step family. It's much more complex. And so they walk into it without that training and understanding of what this new relationship and all the dynamics are going to be like and how to lead in that situation.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
I'm curious. You said about they're not educated on this and don't have premarital counseling. If they were, do you have any idea? If they were to accept premarital counseling, do you have any idea about how many priests and ministers are able to give them any kind of advice on this?
Many have not even been trained in that area. Because of the pre-marriage training here is not just between the husband and wife, it involves the whole family. They are going through pre-marriage preparation with the whole family unit as part of it. So the kids, the mom, the dad, everyone understands what's before them and the aspects of the new challenges for them and how to behave and how to work through those things. I'm going to go through a model at the end. So let's wait till the end to go through that model. Let me see if it maybe answered your question a little bit more. The church plays a vital role here. Now, because step families are coming into this without that background, that training, and maybe they're not seeking it, and that part is really reaching out to them, where a church can come alongside to help equip them and provide that continuing care and that network of folks that are going to come alongside them to help break this legacy of divorce, and so they can leave a godly legacy with their family. So what's the church's role? Really, it's acknowledging that step families are already there. 40% of marriages are step families. Welcoming them and building bridges to them. They may not acknowledge that they're a step family in your church and we're coming. Next thing is educate yourself. Your church staff, leadership within your church that's going to be involved in this ministry as part of it. And really develop a ministry strategy. A ministry strategy that fits within how you are doing ministry today within your church. Maybe that's a teaching time as part of a large group. Maybe it's small groups that you use that you're going to build into that. Maybe you want to add mentors as part of that, mentor couples that are going to help coach and equip these couples that are part of it. And the last part is building this community of support. And that's going to be there to be able to walk with these step families. You know, these step families build relationships with other step families very quickly because they're desperate to understand how this works. And they're walking through the same shoes that they are, so they connect very quickly. Someone that's already a few years down the road has walked this and understands the dynamics of the kids and the spouse, the in-laws, the exes, dealing with all the challenges that they have can be very helpful to someone that's just going into this. So I'd like to propose a model that you can use for marriage ministry, whether it's new marriages, step families, and that's really starting with preparing folks for this this new journey that they're going to be on. Marriage and remarriage. You know, sometimes the church thinks, you know, if I develop a blended or a step-family ministry, that's saying something about divorce and remarriage that we might be endorsing. The fact of the matter is that people are already remarried, and we want to help them make this new covenant relationship that they're in the best that it can be and follow God's plan for that marriage, to bring that aspect of divorce and leading a godly legacy with their children that they have. And so we need to engage with them. And so a big part of that is preparing. The next part is because once they get married, now they start to really see the dynamics. When they're dating, they don't really see those aspects. Once they become married, things change very quickly for them, and they need someone to help engage them and walk them through that. The first couple of years are very challenging in a blended family. Enriching them, coming alongside, maybe this is this network of folks that you have that are already a part of that. And maybe there's an aspect of restoring marriages that are on the brink of divorce that you need to help coach them and equip them and restore those marriages. At the heart of it, though, is why we're doing this. And this is to make godly disciples of Jesus Christ. He uses the marriage and family to do that. It's a pressure cooker right there, right? We're changed because of what goes on in our family. We want to follow God's plan for doing that and pass that on to the next generation. And that's what family life is all about. It's helping churches and others in this discipleship process of marriage and family, and coming alongside and helping work with you from a standpoint of helping to develop marriage strategies and ministry to help that discipleship process and help build strong marriages and families so that you can leave a godly legacy, and that strong marriages build strong churches. When I look at Titus and Timothy, that's where the leaders come from, is where they're exhibiting that in the family. And so strong marriages build strong churches build back in and build strong marriages. So that's our focus. Appreciate your time. We're out. We have a little booth out here if you want to stop by. And we can share some more about not just step families and step parenting, but about marriage ministry in general. Thanks for your time.